Hello everyone, and welcome back to another tea time. Alright, so I know the last video I said it's been a few months since I made a video, but now it's really, really been a few months since I made a video, and I apologize for that, guys. It's been crazy. That's why I'm doing this video. This is my catch-up update video to keep you guys in the loop with what's been going on, because putting it simply, June was kind of a crazy mess. It flew by. That's pretty much all I can say about it. It flew by, and just insanity happened, and that's what this video is about. This video is about my June and everything good, bad, ugly that happened during it. So my last video, as you guys know, I posted it recently, but it was filmed in May. I had been saying how it felt like it was just March, and then it was May. Well, guess what, guys? I still think it's March, and it's July. So really, no different there. But pretty much June, right out the gate, was crazy. There was no slow buildup of like something happening and then like, you know, give it a little bit and then something else. Everything was one after another, after another, after another. And ultimately now we're halfway through July. Like, this is how this last month has been. Like, again, I still feel like we're in March, but this last month really, I just feel like did not exist. So a brief timeline to catch you guys up with what's been going on in my life. Like I said, June started off crazy off the bat. I moved. That pretty much was where we're starting. June 1st, that was it. I packed my stuff, started moving. I ended up moving within 3 days. I'm in a very small town right now. Hopefully not staying here very long. But I moved from my city to the town, and it's been relaxing. Ultimately, it has its a very different vibe from the city life. Quiet at night. I'll give it that. No sirens or honking cars or people yelling on the streets, because I lived right off of Broadway. Now it's quiet. It's just wilderness, woods. Every once in a while you hear a coyote. That's what it's like here. But yeah, I moved. That was the start of June. Pretty much the whole story behind my moving, I'm going to cover that in another video. I'm really not going to go into it here, because if I talk about it here, we're going to be here all night, and I don't want to keep you too late. It's a long story, like I said. It's a lot to talk about. I'm not even going to mention anything about it here, aside from the fact that I moved, because like I said, it is a lot, and the next video that I'm going to be posting, most likely, either the next one or the one after, will pretty much be explaining everything about my move, what led up to it, and all that good stuff. So I'm not going to keep you guys in the dark, I promise. But it's just, like I said, it's too long to talk about today when we're just doing a kind of wrap-up tea time, and we're relaxing and we don't want to hear about all this stuff. So that was the start of June. I moved. I basically moved in 3 days. Moved out of an entire house in 3 days. My mom, my dad, my little brother, and my best friend Steven basically were the ones that helped me. We packed everything up, got everything moved, and I still don't know how we did it. We were crazy. We were probably out until like 1 in the morning, running like carloads upon carloads back and forth between that house and this house. I still don't know how we did it, but we did. And I'm grateful. I'm very thankful again for all the help that Steven had given me and my family. We still owe you a dinner when the world opens up, but yes, we are very, very thankful for all of your help. So the next thing in June kind of to talk about is we started opening. Our state is pretty much almost all the way open now. I know the last video I was talking about, we still were on lockdown. We're not on lockdown anymore. We obviously still have a lot of precautions and things. New York is doing fabulous compared to so many other states, but we are still being very careful. Our mask policy is still in effect. I'm sure it's going to be in effect for a long time to come. I think it's just going to become the new normal with the world. I believe we're in phase 4, opened in my small town, because there's only 3 cases of the virus here versus my city where there were a lot more. Things are pretty much open here. We do have some like travel restriction bans, so we're kind of keeping our eye on that to see like where travel bans are. We still have a lot of people traveling in from other states. A lot of those states too are the ones on the ban list, so I don't know how they're getting in here, but okay. As long as they're not bringing the virus. But that's pretty much the update with that with quarantine, because quarantine for the most part is over. I'm still working from home though, and my overtime is still nuts. It's through the roof. I think I had 20 hours in this paycheck. Like, it's a lot of hours. I've been busting my butt, not just for my department, but other departments as well. I love helping out. I love doing the overtime, and any extra help that my job can have, I'm always grateful for. It just really wears me out. And I'm also back now. For those of you who do know, I work at an animal shelter as well. Since we're in phase 4, the animal shelters are open again to the public on appointment-based status. So I've been working there in between that again. It's nice. I get to see the cats again. I miss them so much. I always say that job is more therapy than it is a job. So it's nice getting back there again. But pretty much that's our status here in New York, at least in my area, with reopening and quarantine and everything. So I'm glad to know that our numbers are doing much better than they were in previous videos when I first started talking, like during everything. So also, last month in June, I celebrated my 29th birthday. That was interesting. It was the first birthday that I really couldn't do much, because usually we go out and have like a lobster bake for my birthday, or we spend the day going out somewhere. And I mean, we were in phase 3 at that time, so some things were open, but not everything. And we couldn't go out to eat. I mean, we could get takeout, but it's just not the same to take out lobster. So we ended up going and getting Chinese out for my birthday, because since quarantine started back in March, we didn't eat out anywhere. We didn't know anything about, what was going on and how really you could get the virus. So we avoided like all fast food restaurant places. Now we're like very slowly going back into it, but I got to splurge on my birthday, so I was very happy. The next big thing to note is I just the other day hit my 89th publication. The last video I made, I said I hit 80, so I have had 9 more publications since then. I'm 1 away from my big 90. Again, still counting down to 100, but when I do hit 90, it'll have its own separate video where I'll actually talk about my writing and everything like that's been going on with that, because again, that's a lot to talk about, and this is just my little, relaxing video to hang out with you guys. So I'm not gonna bug you with all of that here. That's gonna be its own video in itself, but I did hit my 89th publication. So I'm very happy, I'm extremely happy actually, and I'm getting really close to 100. The only downside right now is I have no more work out for publication. Every piece that I've ever written that is polished enough, like not my little drabbles or like 1 or 2 sentences I wrote here and there, every polished piece of writing that I have ever written has been published up to this date traditionally. So I'm very happy, but now I just have no work. So I'm gonna actually have to force myself to sit down and start creating, because I have nothing. And finally, really the only other big update that I'm gonna talk about here, and this is gonna be its own video in itself as well, is the end of June. And this is really what kind of put a damper on everything and kind of where I've been. My friends on Discord, all of my students there, you guys know I kind of like fell off the face of the earth. And this is kind of really what did it. I mean, my move is what started it, because it was just a lot. I'm still unpacking for my move. I feel like it's gonna be like 3 months and I'm still not gonna be unpacked. But just moving, like unpacking, all of that, that's been taking forever. But the big thing is, on June 25th, my grandfather passed away. And that really put a damper on everything. My creativity, work. I ended up getting like 12 days off from work for bereavement, that with the holiday there they had given me. And it's just been a lot. We've been going through a lot of his stuff. For those of you who don't know, my grandfather is a famous Marvel Comics artist. And upon his death, I was the one who had to make basically the public statement. And I was getting inundated with so many emails, so many social media posts from fans around the world. We had news stations contacting us. The phone was ringing like off the hook. I did not get to rest during those 12 days, because the amount of press coverage that was like contacting us, the amount of fans, the amount of industry people, other Marvel Comics artists, his friends, conventions, just it to me was more work than actually had I been at work. The nice thing was it distracted me. It kept all of us really busy, and it was nice seeing all the memories and everything that all the other artists and fans had shared about my grandpa over the years. And I think that's what helped make it a little bit easier. But I mean, to me, this is the hardest thing that ever happened in my life. I think having to say goodbye to my grandpa was the hardest. We were extremely close. He was my biggest supporter with my writing. and he kept pushing because he wanted to see my 100th piece published, and I know he's going to see it, but it's just going to be different because I'm not going to be able to call him on the phone and be like, hey, guess what, Grandpa? Like, I did it. I got my 100th piece published, and we can go out and celebrate together. So, but I mean, I'm glad. I know he's glad that I just hit my 89th. I'm sure he's like, well, how many away from 100 are you now? But it just, to me, this was the hardest thing I've ever gone through because I considered him one of my best friends, and we shared a very deep connection and bond. And I mean, there was not a week of my life that I didn't either see or talk to my grandpa. When I lived overseas in London, obviously I didn't see him every week, and when I lived in Boston, obviously I didn't, but I called him every week, and I always was in contact with him. And I feel like I'm still kind of in denial. Like, I mean, I know at this point that I'm like not, but at the same time there's some things like I still feel like he's not gone. And I know, like, come the holidays, it's going to be the hardest. But that pretty much was the end of June for me. And I'm still not done. Like, I still have emails upon email, and I still have so many letters from fans that I haven't even gotten through yet. And like I said, it's been crazy. It's been crazy. But I do want to say thank you to everybody who personally knows me or knew my grandpa and knew, you know, what had happened, and who reached out to my family and shared your condolences or memories with us, because it really did help get through that, because it was extremely difficult. And I mean, it still is. It gets better every day, but I know come the holiday months, it's going to be really, really hard because, like I said, my grandpa was pretty much like one of my best friends, and clearly he was my biggest supporter. And I am celebrating, like I said, my publications as they come out. I'm ecstatic. I'm through the roof, but it's just so different because every time I had something published, he was the first person I'd call and tell. And for the first time, it's like I get something published and I just sit there and I'm like, oh, I don't have anyone to tell. I mean, I do. I have my friends. I have my Discord channel. I let everybody know, but it's not the same. And I'm sure you guys know, hopefully you know, like, what I'm saying and why it's not necessarily the same. I miss him immensely. That really was what killed my June, and that's why we're here mid-July, and I've had no updates because I've been burnt out. I've been burnt out with just emotion, unpacking from moving, and just all the emails, phone calls, press invites, and everything from all over the world, from fans and news anchors and whatnot. And again, I do thank everyone for their condolences. It's been a lot. But I will be having a video on my grandpa as one of my videos coming up as well. Like I said, I could sit here and talk about my grandpa for days straight, but I'm gonna do a very nice tribute video to him, just talking about him for those who didn't get to know him, and kind of share some of my favorite memories, and, you know, just talk about everything kind of leading up to this in that video as well, because like I said, it's too much to really share here. So honestly, guys, that was my June. That was my June. It was insane. It really was crazy. And like I said, it felt like the shortest month of the year, but it also felt like it was the longest month of the year. I can't explain it. I really can't. But it felt short, but also really long, and like it never ended. But yeah, that was my June. But I think for the most part, that wraps this video up. I really don't want to go off on any more tangents longer than I have to, because like I said, I don't want this video to be too long. Just hanging out with you guys, and I will have more videos much more in depth on some of these things in the coming few days or within the next week, because I really do want to get them filmed, and I actually have some time to get them filmed now, and I have some space to get them filmed because I've started to unpack my boxes and I don't have like bare walls behind me where it looks really boring. So how have all of you been? I know it's been crazy. Like I said, the last update for me was pretty much about May. So how was your June? Hopefully it was much better than mine was. And what are you guys looking forward to for the summer? I know the summer is like halfway over, but are there any plans that you guys have, well, that you can do with quarantine kind of still going on, depending on your state? Yeah. Anything you guys want to talk about, definitely let me know down below so I have some comments to check out and get in touch with you guys, because I've missed all of you. But in the meantime, before I come back for my next video, this is just my daily reminder to make sure that you always wear your mask, don't touch your face, social distance when you can, just avoid people in general, And remember, guys, as always, don't be stupid. I love all of you so much. Thank you for being patient with me. Thank you for all your continued love and support across all of my social media. And I will see you guys very, very soon in my next video. Bye.